Welcome to Big Ten Women's Soccer in 10, where we visit with every head coach for all 14 teams and one distinguished alumni, and we are going big time today. I'm Dean Linke along with Hannah Davison, former star for Northwestern, now with the Chicago Red Stars. And when I say big time, I'm talking about 30-year top man for the Michigan State women's soccer team, Tom Saxton, and their all-time leading scorer by a country mile, 57 goals, 25 assists, 19 game winners. She was on the Big Ten Network all the time. She was money.
Ultimate finisher, Dean. As I've been in this game a long time, as you mentioned, and she's the greatest ever, greatest finisher ever, without a doubt. And very proud of her that she's continuing in the game as a college coach now. So just delighted to be here and delighted to be a part of this.
And as Dean mentioned, you've spent half your life as a Spartan yourself, and players like Larua just don't come around too often. Can you just talk about how special of a player she is and the impact she's left on the program?
You know, we knew right away from day one in preseason how special she was, and just a great player, a great student athlete, did super well in the classroom, but on the field from day one, just the knack in the final third, just the instinct. It's not something anybody can teach. It's something she developed, I think, probably in the backyard with her brothers, if you asked her, but she just had that something special. And all we did was try to, organize a team around her to put her in good positions. And after that, she took over. And again, as has been mentioned, great success in that era for us.
Laura Hybor Heethuis now, and I know you're having success as a coach. Yeah, we'll get to that, but I want to talk about, as you're wearing the green and white, you've got your Spartan colors on, 21 goals as a freshman. You see Tom now. When you think about Michigan State, what's it mean to you?
Oh, man. I mean, there's so much joy that comes back to wearing the green and white, so much pride that comes with it, and just getting an opportunity to kind of reminisce and go back and think about those days is pretty special. So, yeah, this is fun. This is brings up so many good memories no matter what, so many good challenges. But in all things, it brings back the positive relationships that Spartan has brought me and continues to bring me every day.
And there has to be so many great memories that come with all that success. Is there one season, one moment, one goal that really just sticks out to you from your career at Michigan State?
I would say probably my first season probably sticks out the most, just because it's your first time being in college, not knowing kind of what to expect, your first time putting on that green and white jersey. So I remember quite vividly that first game against Oakland, just wearing that Spartan S and getting super excited about it. And then I think the next game that kind of points out to me is my sophomore season. We played Penn State at home. I believe it was on the Big Ten Network, and we won in overtime. So Penn State is such a quality program that anytime that you can steal some points from them is great, and to be able to do it at home in front of your friends and your family and on, DeMartin Stadium is pretty special. So being able to kind of notch that game-winning goal in overtime is one of the goals that sticks out the most to me.
Tom and Laura, it's clear. I remember all the great goals. And as you said, Tom, she's a great finisher and she can do it in so many different ways. But unfortunately, I also remember the injury, and I remember just my heart sinking down to my stomach. Tom, what do you remember about that injury sophomore year? And then Laura, you can also comment on that.
Yeah, it's not a pleasant memory. Obviously, it was a horrific collision, and honestly, I get a pit in my stomach thinking about that day, and yet I'm inspired because, and always have been, because Laura handled herself so well. It was a very severe break, and remember being in the hospital with her and with her family and making the decisions and to have surgery. And then she had a long road back and just showed such great character and perseverance. And, it took a while, but got back out on the field and finished out a fantastic career with, more scoring accolades and more all Big Tens and more All-Americans. So, overall, it's a great story of perseverance in sport, which inspires us all. So I'm very proud of Laura, and it's something I'll never forget, the tough day it was, but more importantly, remember the return. And she did such a great job. And again, I'll never forget it.
Yeah, kind of thinking back to it, I remember that game quite well also. And I think if I didn't score on that exact play that I got injured, maybe it wouldn't be as sweet as what it turned out to be. But yeah, getting to score while going through something, quite dramatic like that. Kind of adds a little bit to it. But I think for me, it just made me a better player because now I got used to being on the field all the time. And I was in a different situation where I had to learn how to lead and learn how to kind of be a coach in a way to help my teammates and to pick up on the game in a different way, because now I'm trying to figure out how to be utilized on the sideline. So there's quite a lot of time and effort put into the recovery, but I got to learn about the game in a different way. So I got to kind of see some of the X's and O's that I didn't necessarily get while I was on the field.
It sounds like this injury may have primed you for now being a head coach at Waynesburg University, getting to see the field on a new angle. What aspects, traditions, cultures that you experienced at Michigan State have you tried to now cultivate at Waynesburg being the head coach?
Yeah, so Tom is an educator. He is somebody that is going to teach in all ways and continue to change how he teaches. And so I try to take bits and pieces of how Tom teaches. And like some of that comes from different road trips we take. He would teach us about the school or about the city we were in or things that have happened around. So we try to do our research a little bit here at Waynesburg where I'm at now and just try to teach a little bit in that way. And I think the staff brings a challenging side, but also some fun. So our pregame talks were always fun that, you could usually count on a weather report of how things were looking and kind of count on our associate head coach, Tammy, to bring in some fire with her pregame talks. We try to implement all of those things and bring them here to where I'm at now.
Tom, you know how important an assistant coach is. You already credited your assistant coach with bringing Laura here. Can you imagine having your assistant coach, your husband, and then on the reverse side, Laura is also the assistant for her husband for the men's team at Waynesburg University? How about that?
I think that's such a cool story, and we've enjoyed having Laura and Brad back to work our camps as they took over that program out there. And it was always nice to see them every summer. We'd sit at lunch at the CAF, and it was really cool and inspiring in many ways because they get along so well together, and I'm sure there's challenges. Normally coaches get to go home to a kind of a separate life, but I don't think Laura and Brad can probably ever escape their career when they're together 24/7. But I think it's a cool story, and they're both great soccer minds, and they're doing such a great job out there.
And Laura, the Big Ten has obviously produced a lot of professional athletes. You are very well versed in the professional world, starting out in the WPSL and then being one of the first players that paved the way for the NWSL. What advice would you give to any of the current Spartans or your own players on how to take their game to the next level?
I would just say continue down the road. There's going to be ups and there's going to be downs. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be times where you're feeling on top of your game, but you got to stay consistent. And that's with training, that's with mentality, that's with nutrition, getting enough sleep, enough rest. The women that are playing today in the pro league, they're doing everything day in and day out to be there. And I know how much sacrifice and commitment it takes. And so I think just being willing to commit yourself fully to that process, that's going to be the best way to get you there.
Let's end with a quick soundbite from Tom and Laura. Tom, you have spent more than half your life at Michigan State. When you think green and white in one sentence, what's it mean to you?
People, without a doubt, people. And we have, we're known as a blue collar kind of institution, and the people work with each other, work hard, and don't really need to have a lot of attention paid to them. So it's always about the people here at Michigan State.
And for you, Laura?
I would say moments. You're always going to have your moments, no matter what they are. If they're on the field, you got to make them and you got to take them. And you're going to have moments in your relationships and being intentional. So whenever you get those moments, those opportunities, you got to make the most of them.
You provided so many great moments. 19 game winners, 57 goals, 25 assists, the all-time leader in Michigan State goals, assists, and points at 139. Tom and Laura, thanks so much for being with us for Big Ten in 10, Michigan State women's soccer.